but I'm actually driving myself insane. So please help. The person that I want to manifest is I'm not someone in the middle of 12,000 books at once. Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrew. I'm still trying to figure out how the hell to do a vlog. I got back from New York. Oh my God, yesterday? Wow, I feel like it was longer than that. I went to my friend's wedding, which was absolutely stunning. Yeah, I really need to clean my entire house, my entire apartment, and I don't know how people do themed reading vlogs, because I have started like so many different books. Let's just go through them. Let's just talk about all the books that I've picked up and started and have yet to finish. So I did finish The Crown Conspiracy by Michael J. Sullivan. I finished the first book in the two-part, like the first book that's like a 2-book bind-up. I finished the first book, but I marked it on Goodreads as read because I read the whole first book. I don't know. That was 4 stars. I really liked it. I do want to continue the series. I also downloaded the ebook for The Woman in the Library, and I was really enjoying that, but I just kept not picking it up. Then I also got the audiobook for A Court of Wings and Ruin, and I listened to maybe 15% of it, and then I was so spaced out, so I have gone back to the start because I just don't think I was comprehending what the hell was going on. I also have listened to the first 20% of Jade City, which I actually own. And unfortunately, I don't know, it's just a lot of character setup and gang setup, so hopefully once I get past that point, it hooks me more. I also started It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, which I think I'm just in this romance mood. Like, I'm just in a romance mood. I've always loved rom-coms, and what got me back into reading was like Cassandra Clare, which is like fantasy with a strong romantic element. So I just never thought I would really consider myself a romance reader, but I also read Take a Hint, Danny Brown earlier this year, and I absolutely loved it. And I read the second book, also loved it, so I need to finish that series, but I also really wanted to read just like these beautiful, cutesy, like I'm thinking of like The Unhoneymooners, like just all of the, I'm just gonna put some on the screen. Like I just think that they're so cute and adorable, and I want to read them all, but what put me in the mood was What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli, which I enjoyed that so much, and I have never read this. I did see the movie like way back when this came out, and I honestly don't remember hardly any of it, but I guess I've been reading so much fantasy, and it's just been taking so much of my brain power that I'm kind of like in the mood for just a little bit less brain power, I guess. And like, I really want to read stuff that has like mixed meat. I like really want, because What If It's Us had like text messages, but it didn't look like a text bubble. It looked like it was like bold, and then it had like whatever one of the characters said. But I absolutely loved What If It's Us. I mean, the ending is a little controversial, but I know there's a sequel, and people are saying the sequel is like, yeah, I don't know. But see, and this has like emails in it, which I remember being a like integral part of the plot, obviously, because like he's being blackmailed via email, Simon. And I don't know, I want to read this. I hardly own any contemporary. I was talking to one of my sisters about this. Like, every single book in my house is a fantasy book. So I don't know if I'm just not in the mood for fantasy, or if I'm just like not in the mood for audiobooks, but I was listening to It Happened One Summer, so I guess I'm just not in the mood for fantasy. Maybe that's what I need to realize, because all the other things I mentioned, like Court of Wings and Ruin, well, The Woman in the Library is mystery, so maybe that's part of it. I don't even know what else I started, because I returned some of it to the library. Oh, I also got 50% into Hell Followed With Us because I was so hyped for that book. But it's not really what I was hoping for. I was hoping it was going to be a book that had this like story about how the world became so corrupt because of religion. And it's really not about that. It's more about a character who's, I honestly don't know. Again, I feel like maybe it was an audio thing because I just feel like it was either that or I just wasn't in the mood for something so dark because I was in the mood for romance, and like that's so opposite of what I was in the mood for. Oh, I don't know how far I got into this. I started the audiobook for Half a Soul because I was like, okay, this is like fantasy and romance, so maybe this is gonna scratch 2 itches for me. And I also was not super vibing with this. So like I was so hyped for both of these, and I feel like I just need to stop reading reviews, and I have a whole list of other people's favorite books and all my notes apps. I just need to stop. I need to stop. That's not true, because I got into Cassandra Clare because I was watching people's reviews. I was watching random people's channels, and then they started saying so many things about Cassandra Clare. They were like, this is a whole bunch of vampires and werewolves and it's not my vibe. And I was like, well, that is my vibe. And then I read it, loved it, was obsessed. So I feel like I just need to try to remember what it is that I like. But also I don't know, it's just so, with the book, there should be, I think that we need better book trailers. We need better expectation setting for books. Like this could have, like I just need to watch like, maybe like TikTok edits of the books. I think would be helpful. Like if there was something along the lines of like what kind of vibe to get from the book, which I know is popular on TikTok. So maybe I should do that. That would be a good experiment. Like looking through those TikTok edits and seeing like if the vibe of what the person's claiming the book is actually what you get from the book. I just thought of that right now, and I think I'm gonna turn this video into that. Because I finished the whole Poppy War series earlier, and I absolutely loved every single book in that series. I was obsessed. And then I started watching edits, and I just started crying because I was obsessed with all of the Poppy War character quote. Like they would take character art and quotes and they would put music behind it, and I was just like, it was so good. So maybe if I do that with something along these lines, it will put me in the mood for that type of story. I forgot to mention another book. I'm also in the middle of Crooked Kingdom by Miss Leigh Bardugo. I'm on page 148, and maybe I just like, I don't know, because I've vlogged a couple books before, and just like knowing that you have to come back and update somebody, something, someone, some camera, that you have to like come back and like share your thoughts as you've read. It's this weirdly motivating thing. So perhaps I will also do that. Does anybody care about my thoughts on this? I don't know. I feel like if you love it, you've probably already read it. It's so freaking popular. I don't know what other videos I talked about it in, but I've talked about in I read Six of Crows. I gave it 2 stars. And then I decided to reread it like 2 months ago now, maybe a month ago, and enjoyed it way more when I read it physically. So, which again makes me feel like maybe this just needs to be read with my eyes. So, and this is the person that I want to be. The person that I want to manifest is I'm not someone in the middle of 12,000 books at once. I want to be somebody in the middle of just one physical book and one audiobook. And I don't want to be going beyond that. I just don't feel like, I feel like more than that is way too excessive. So I was listening to this while reading along physically, and I feel like that weirdly took some type of joy out of it. I don't know, it made me not, I felt like I had to focus on 2 things at once, and I don't know. So I'm gonna try to go back to reading this only physically. Okay, so for now, what I'm gonna do is this. I am going to continue listening to It Happened One Summer while cleaning my home. And I really want to figure out, I want to enhance the editing skills of trying to speed up the playback and put some music on in the back, and like I just want to know how to do that editing skill. So I'm gonna work on that. I will be filming myself cleaning something, and hopefully for not too long. If I do it for like 10 minutes, then it'll be 5 minutes of the vlog. I feel like that's a good amount of time, and then I feel like it's like weirdly satisfying to watch people in fast forward mode. I don't know. So I also feel like I want to read this because I want to watch season 2, and I didn't want to watch season 2 until I was finished with this. But I don't think that there's any plot points from this in season 2, I don't think. But I loved the show. I loved the show more than the books, which I actually thought was the general opinion, but I've seen some other people who thought the show was really corny, didn't like it. So I don't know. If you have read and seen both, I would love to know your thoughts. And if you've read any other book that I mentioned, tell me what's worth pushing through and what's not. And tell me, like, how the hell do people determine, like, I know, like, let's focus on mood readers here. Like, how does a mood reader figure out what they're in the mood for? Because I can't figure it out. I'm unable to pick one book and stick to it. And some people are like, that's so impressive. I wish I could read that many books at once. But I'm actually driving myself insane. So please help. Please help. So thank you so much for your support during this difficult time. Yeah, okay, I've gotta go clean. I have to go clean. It's like 3 days later from when I cleaned, and I did the dishes, and I haven't really cleaned anything else. So I really need to clean more, but I did finish It Happened One Summer. So I finally finished a book, and I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I liked it a lot. I really liked it a lot. I have learned personally though that I feel like I've seen other reviewers say this, like dual POV romance, like getting both characters' perspective is the best way to write romance, and I 100% agree, because I was talking I think earlier about What If It's Us, and you get, like, you're alternating between their perspectives as the things happen, but it's not like a dual timeline, because, like, one of my favorite booktubers, Meg, with books, always says, like, she hates dual timelines because it feels like it's taking twice as long to get, like, to the halfway point of a story, kind of. And I'm trying to think of examples. Like, the only example I can think of is Truly Devious, and I feel like I love the way they did the dual timeline there. So I don't know if I love dual timeline stuff, but anyways, all of that is way besides the point, because It Happened One Summer is not really dual POV, I don't think. I mean, you get both their perspectives, but it's not like alternating. It's like the story is being written. So I guess it's like third person omniscient, as they say. Like you're not in like anyone else's heads besides like the two romantic interests. So I don't know. I also liked the way that was written a lot, and I am eventually going to read the sequel because I really liked her sister Hannah, and people say that I saw a review that was like, this is for everyone who doesn't feel like a main character in their own story. And I'm like, okay, that just has me intrigued. And I've seen people that like the second book even more than the first book. But yeah, I really, really liked the love. There was a lot of smut. And personally, the smut is not what I'm there for, but I keep wishing it was gay smut, because I I think I get what it does for some of the girlies, and it would obviously do a lot more for me if it was gay smut. So if anybody knows, like, I just want the gay version of that because, and this kind of reminds me, it's kind of written in a way of like Take a Hint, Danny Brown, which I also have read earlier this year. I've already read the first 2 books, and I want to read the third. I want to read Eve Brown, but there's a lot of sex. These cutesy covers have a lot of sex, and I feel like I just don't think the whole world has picked up on it. I don't know, but I'm reading them and I'm like, oh, okay. But I want the gay version of Take a Hint, Danny Brown. Like literally, I was like, I want to be that woman. Like in Danny Brown, I actually think I liked Danny Brown. No, I liked Chloe Brown more than Danny Brown, which is not a popular opinion, I think. But I did like them. I liked them both, but I liked Danny Brown. No, I'm saying it wrong because everybody else has the opposite opinion. I liked Chloe Brown slightly more. And I mean, I didn't like the third act breakup, but I thought they had, the way the smut was written, I liked it better in Chloe Brown. But if anybody has any recommendations for books that are like that, but gay, I would really appreciate it. Okay, so today is Saturday and I have no plans whatsoever. I'm sure my team at work is gonna call me with questions because they always do, which is fine. And I'm also somewhere along, I'm on the chapter 14 of this, 100 and something pages into this. And I don't know if I said earlier, I wasn't super loving it, and I'm still not super loving it. But I've seen a lot of people that only gave the first book like a 3.5. Like the third book in this series was in every single person's favorite. So I really want to continue. And I started this list of like the highest rated fantasy conclusions, which is kind of similar to this list I have of, it has like, I also have a list of like a lot of people's favorite fantasy series. I have a whole list of like 150 other booktubers' favorite series on my phone. But, and like the rankings of what's mentioned the most and what has the highest rating is, I mean, it's a little bit off, but like for the most part, all the same series that are like way high up, like top 10 most mentioned, also have. Anyways, this was like number 11 most mentioned, and it is the number 2 highest rated conclusion. 4.67 out of 5. So like, I feel like I'm gonna really, hopefully by the end up giving this 4 stars and then enjoy the second and third books even more. But it's actually the highest rated fantasy conclusion like ever, because the number 1 highest rated thing is Calvin and Hobbes, which I don't think is a fantasy thing at all. It's just like a comic strip. I haven't read any of it, but if you have, let me know. And then a lot of like manga is really, we have Jujutsu Kaisen, Full Metal Alchemist, Fruits Basket. So those are all like in the top. Like Jujutsu Kaisen has 4.66, so it's just behind Jade Legacy, and Full Metal Alchemist is 4.62. So, and Fruits Basket is 4.57. So I mean, these are like, I want to get into manga, but I don't know. I want to watch. Do I want to watch it? Do I want to read it? I'm not sure. I do own the first Full Metal Alchemist, and I did start it, and I was really enjoying it. So I feel like as I continue to read, I would just keep enjoying it. But I want to like knock out some other physical book series, because I know that's going to take up a lot of space. It's like 20 volumes or something. So I'm going to try to listen to more of this and clean something. Just need to clean something. And I got coffee from La Madeleine, because I don't know if anybody else feels like this, but Starbucks is not hitting lately. This though, this is the caramel flavored latte from La Madeleine. If you have a La Madeleine near you, it's very sweet though, so if you don't like sweet, maybe not. But this is so good. I think I already mentioned this earlier too, but I really need to know, how do mood readers pick what book they want to read next? Like, how do you determine what mood? I get it. Like, I just read a romance, it was really cute, it was fluffy, and I have to think to myself like, okay, do I want to read another romance? And because there's some people who read only romance. So my question is more geared to people who want to read all the genres. Like, how do you determine like, okay, I want another romance? Or how do you determine like, okay, if you're going to read a mystery or you're going to read a fantasy, how do you determine like which one of those you're in the mood for? Like, I feel like I need a mood ring, but like to determine what book I want to read, because this, I feel like I'm more in the mood for it now that I finished a romance, but I'm just not sure that it's 100%, because this is also like, okay, I don't know if you've seen or not, but I feel like Six of Crows and like there's this certain tone that Six of Crows has, and I feel like this kind of has it. So I feel like people who have loved Six of Crows are also loving this, and I didn't love Six of Crows the first time I read it, and then I reread it, and then I enjoyed it a lot more on reread, and I felt like it was, I get the hype on Six of Crows, and I feel like this has similar tone to Six of Crows, and I like a more whimsical-ish type of fantasy, and I feel like this is a much more gritty fantasy, and I'm not sure that that's my vibe. However, I could not get into this. This is so whimsical from what I understand. Maybe I just didn't like the narrator, because I feel like when I was reading this with my eyes, it was going better for me. So maybe, and I'm still trying to figure out how can I become a person who only reads one physical book and one audiobook. I feel like I can handle one physical, but the audio options and like being able to have the day and age where we could have access to like literally any book that you want. I mean, I love that for us, but it's a bit overwhelming with all the choices. So, because I also got the audio for Gideon the Knight, which is, you're sitting on top of it right now. So I can't hold it up. I mean, I could just like move the camera and go crazy, but it's a mess. So I also have the audio for that, and I was enjoying that, but I know that's a gritty, dark tone thing, isn't it? So I don't know. Like, I just need to figure out like a pattern. I think my brain I want to be like, okay, I read a romance, then I read a mystery, then I read a fantasy. But that makes no sense, because what if I read a mystery and I want to read 8 more mysteries? Or what if I read a fantasy and I want to immediately continue the series? I don't understand how people have ever been able to make a TBR and stick to it. I've never understood that concept. Never. I've never understood how you can pick a list of books and then just read that list of books. Like, how can you not get distracted? And I also really want to read Fourth Wing. And it's on Scribd, so I have no reason not to just start the audiobook for that, because I can get it right now. Even though the physical would take like 3 weeks to get here, that doesn't matter. I could literally start it right now if I wanted to. But everyone says it ends on a cliffhanger, so I'll make sure it's still on Scribd, because I know it was, but I don't know if it still is. Scribd is so slow. Actually, Scribd is like my least favorite method for audiobooks. My favorite is probably Libby, then Hoopla, then Audible. But I will say Scribd does have stuff that is not on the library, like stuff that's really old. Like, that's how I listened to Angel Fall, and they also have, it's just really good for young adult stuff. I feel like there's very few, like all the adult books that I read, I have to get from the library. I don't feel like there's any, like there's no Sanderson on Scribd, there's no Joe Abercrombie. I do think Robin Hobb is on Scribd, so if you're interested in getting into her, maybe I should do a whole video on like what's available on Scribd, but I feel like I haven't read it, so I feel like it's less interesting for me to talk about it. But maybe I could just do like is a Scribd worth it thing and then I could like break it down by like what genres you like to read. That Scribd is how I listen to all of Cassandra Clare, so Okay, well, I was reading this, but I don't know. I'm just not sure if I'm in the mood for it, which is the problem. Because I want the book to have its best chance. I mean, it's a book, who cares? I could just stop reading it, but I don't want to start it over. But this is what I'm talking about. Like urban fantasy shit. That is my shit. Okay, well, I'm just gonna pick something to read, hopefully, and then I will update you when I'm already 25% into this, so I might be coming back to update you on this. I still have the physical for Crooked Kingdom, so maybe I'll read some of that and come back. I don't know, but I am gonna clean and read. I also was watching American Horror Story. I watched Asylum, and I had never watched it. I didn't watch it when it first came out because something about the first episode, I wasn't feeling it. I don't know. And then my friend, he started watching it and said it was like one of the best seasons, and he thought it was even better than Coven, and I was like, no. Now that I've finished it, because I finished all of Asylum, I will say I do think that like it's equally as good as Coven, but I prefer the ending to Coven. And I actually think that my favorite season is probably Murder House, which is the very first season. But I feel like Murder House was like there was nothing on TV like that at the time. I feel like it was a game changer, as they say. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on mood reading. Let me know your thoughts on American Horror Story. And if you've read Jade City, let me know what's your favorite fantasy conclusion that you've ever read. And yeah, I'll see you when I see you. It's so fucking hot outside in the great state of Texas, and I hate it so much. I hate it so much. But I think I'm going to end this vlog. I did clean all my dishes and I did clean off this desk. However, the rest of my apartment is still a nightmare. I think I need to find a way to like make a to-do list for myself in my personal life, because like I work so hard at work and I just come home and have no desire to continue any work of any kind. But I think I just need to kind of make my apartment feel like a home, and we're not there yet. We're just nowhere near there. We're nowhere near. I've lived here for like a year. But I'm going to end this vlog because I want to start a new vlog in which I'm going to be reading this trilogy. I'm only committing to this trilogy, but I'm currently in the middle of the second book already because I have already made a review for the first book. And I love Robin Hobb's writing, and I love the wit and the skill. I love it all. But I'm going to talk about all that in a new vlog, okay? So hopefully this will go live a few weeks after the one you're seeing right now, so you don't have to wait too long. But I mean, I've already read this one, so I only have these two left, and I'm about 10% into the second one. These are just, are these not the most beautiful, like, epic fantasy covers you've ever, like, I just love these. I really hope that I get to the end of the second book and I love it as much as lots of other people do. But okay, so since it's the end of the vlog, I'm gonna leave my Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter. It will all be in the description down below for you to check out if you would like. Otherwise, have a great day. Bye.